Let's talk about the sin of Sodom. Because if your only takeaway is they were sexually immoral, you're missing most of the story. The Bible actually gives a multifaceted indictment on the people of Sodom. First, Ezekiel 16, 49 and 50 say, "Now this was the iniquity of your sister Sodom. She and her daughters were arrogant, overfed, and unconcerned. They did not help the poor and needy. They were haughty and committed abominations before me. Therefore, I have removed them, as you have seen." Pride, gluttony, neglect of the vulnerable. Sodom institutionalized cruelty. We need to realize that the sexual sin wasn't the only problem in Sodom. Not caring for those less fortunate is a big deal in God's eyes. We get a glimpse of how they treat visitors in Genesis 19, and Ezekiel lets us know that it is not an isolated incident. To be clear, Jude 7 adds the sexual dimension. In like manner, Sodom and Gomorrah indulged in sexual immorality and pursued strange flesh. We cannot overlook the perverse sexual practices of Sodom. When we read, "All the men of the city of Sodom, both young and old, surrounded the house. They called to Lot, saying, 'Where are the men who came to you tonight? Send them out to us so that we can have relations with them.'" We should be alarmed. The homosexual rape of visitors is certainly a problem in the city, but I might argue that that is a symptom of a deeper heart issue described in Ezekiel. And rabbinic tradition agrees with this deeper problem in Sodom. Yes, the sexual sin is a major problem, but the treatment of strangers and the lack of hospitality is highlighted by the rabbinic teachings. In Sanhedrin 109b, we read stories of Sodom outlawing hospitality and generosity, punishing anyone who helped a stranger. There's one story about a young girl who gave bread to a poor person. And when the authorities found out, they smeared her with honey, placed her on the city wall so that bees would sting her to death. This story illustrates the extent to which acts of mercy were criminalized in Sodom. The city was not only immoral, it had institutionalized hatred of generosity. This wasn't just about personal sin, it was about a systemic culture of injustice. This needs to be viewed in contrast to the extreme acts of hospitality that Abraham shows in Genesis 18.